Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Enugol. Now let's further enrich our perspectives and explore some of the issues covered on the program today and beyond with our guest contributor, who brings his depth and breadth of analysis to various subjects. And today we have the current affairs analyst and dean of the School of Postgraduate Studies at Bayes University, Abuja, Professor Adeniyi. Great to see you, Prof.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you for joining us. And I noticed you were avidly listening to Buba Galadima there. He said a lot of things, always interesting, always fascinating.
Always very interesting.
Your assessment?
Yeah, very interesting personality, no doubt. An elder statesman, but very fiery, still very active, around workshops, full of energy. And of course, as a politician, it's often always better for you to have him on your side, so that because he can be very, he's got very, he can punch, he's got that power to punch.
He can muddy your waters, let's put it that way.
But again, I remember very clearly too that it was very close to President Buhari, and at the time they fell out, but even then, Buhari survived without him, but it wasn't easy still, so now again I remember in 2015 or so, or 2019, he was with former Vice President Atiku. Again, he moved on to Kwankwaso, and now, he's juggling his options.
That's why I'm saying that he must be a very disappointed man with the sort of the politicians he's had to
very
support.
measured, but I think President Tinubu might also be looking his way, one way or the other. We can never tell. This is the time for alliance and alignment and realignment. We do not know what will come up in the build-up to 2027. But he made some very important points with respect to democracy, and this is a point that we have to keep highlighting, which is, yes, democracy should bring dividend, but we shouldn't forget all of our values that come with democracy. And what are those values? Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, good representation, gender representation, mainstreaming of all marginalized sections, appropriate representation, so that we can have balanced development, as the case could be.
And voting, elections
to
count.
Yeah, tidying the electoral process, which is a central point of the democratic process, not just having election as an activity, but an election that is worth it. We just saw one concluded in South Africa, and of course, the world didn't complain much. We want an election. Yeah, every election will come with controversy, but those controversies should be measured. Not one that will threaten to bring down the state, as the case could be, and of course not one that will make us to continue this endless tribunalization, where again we begin to doubt the ability or the integrity, the credibility of the judiciary to adjudicate properly. So all this complicates the process. We need to tidy these processes properly. It's not just about physical development, infrastructure, utility. That's not the main essence of democracy, even though it is integral to it. But the other values that are not integral, that you won't find in another system of government, like theocracy, dictatorship, authoritarian regime, that is only embedded in democracy, should be evident, so that we can be much more celebratory that we have done 25 years of unbroken democracy. Yes, it is salutary the way it is, but I'm saying that we can still do better, if we're concerned about these values, ordinarily embedded in the democratic system.
Well, what about his assessment of what's going on in Kano with the tussle between the sort of the different camps of the different, people who are vying for the crown?
He spoke like an elder statesman, a mature man, and it was very nuanced, but that's also a very delicate issue that we expect the authorities, to be circumspect about, and we need some more care, because the decision of the emirship is a very sensitive one, powerful traditional stool with lots of historical significance, and one of the most influential in this country, and of course, yes, in this country, even in the West African sub-region. So we do not want, political partisanship, to come into it. You let the politicians do their thing, but you shouldn't rub off on the traditional institution.
That's a good point.
Emirship. That's very, very important, and I do believe that authorities, will handle this thing much more carefully. Not just state authority, but even presidential authority. There's a way in which the center can rein in and bring about lasting peace so that we can have a peace in that very important state.
And do you agree with the way that he analyzed that problem and decided to kind of hold back rather than
because that's what it takes, because it's a very, like I said, it's a delicate institution, sensitive issue, that you cannot afford to be frontal, to be absolute or arithmetical, because the events are still unfolding. We know where the pendulum swings, no doubt. We're not unmindful of that, but we also know that if a party is still dissatisfied, we know the kind of harm that party can cause. And that's not what we want, because that party, the principal may not be doing anything himself, but there are followers everywhere. And these followers often lack understanding. The kind of understanding that the elites have, they don't have it. And sometimes violence may just be the kind of tool that they want to apply towards the realization of their assumed objective, which most times may be right, but of course the mechanism for achieving it will always be wrong. Especially when violence comes to the fore. But we do not. This is not the kind of thing that we anticipate, and we just continue to be hopeful that it will be peacefully resolved. Because we know that the elders involved are also very experienced people, people that we can trust that they will do the best, not just for the people of Kano, but for the people of the country, as the case could be.
Prof, thank you very much indeed. Sorry it was a bit brief because
Bube
Galadima is a difficult person to stop talking. Although he was very interesting. But thank you very much indeed. And Professor Abiodun Adeniyi is a current affairs analyst and dean of the School of Postgraduate Studies at Bayes University in Abuja. Thank you and good to see you.
My pleasure.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye and thank you for watching.